Typography for the web was very limited to a handful of fonts until around 2009-2010 when subscription-based Typekit and free Google Fonts came onto the scene. To make the most of your web typography knowledge, we'll examine the differences between web-safe fonts and web fonts, explore the web fonts online, and discuss strategies for successful font pairings. Let's start with going over the differences between web-safe fonts and web fonts. Web-safe fonts must be cross-platform, which means they need to be already installed on a visitor's device, such as a computer, tablet, or smartphone. And since there are different fonts installed on Macs and on PCs, the list of web-safe fonts is actually rather small. Since there is no guarantee if a website visitor will have a particular web-safe font already installed on their device, most web-safe fonts are specified in CSS as part of a font set. Font sets ensure that unavailable fonts have a specified fallback. For example, you could specify that Verdana is your main font in your CSS, and then have Arial, Helvetica, and Sans Serif as the fallbacks. To see what I mean about limited options, here is a list of 24 commonly used web-safe fonts. 24 might seem like a lot, but if you use them over and over again, they can start to feel stifling. Web fonts are quite a bit different and super easy to use. For starters, they are platform independent, which means they do not need to be installed on a visitor's device. What's more, there are now hundreds of options for you to choose from, so you can more easily express yourself with particular fonts while still specifying font sets with up to 4 fonts as fallbacks, just as you would with web-safe fonts. Google Fonts require 2 elements to work: a simple rule in your CSS, along with a link in the head to the web font source. They also offer an option for using the @import rule or JavaScript instead of the standard link. Typekit usage is slightly different. Here, you'll create a kit to configure the fonts you want to use, which generates some script tags to add to your head and provides the selectors to add to your CSS. Because they're hosted elsewhere, web fonts do not require you to install any software or host any fonts yourself, though you could self-host if you really wanted to. Typically, you get your web fonts from a subscription-based or free library of hosted fonts. Here are a few popular websites to find web fonts. There's Google Fonts, Typekit, Adobe Edge Web Fonts, FontShop, Fonts.com, and FontSquirrel. As you learned while exploring fonts in the Elements of Design, there are a few general categories for font types. There's serif and sans serif, as well as display fonts like slab serif, cursive, handwriting or script, decorative, and typewriter. Here are 5 pro font pairing tips for the web. First, think in contrasts like heavy and light and curvy and straight. What definitely doesn't work are 2 fonts that look too similar. 2, play with scale. Go large and small, small and medium, or large and large. 3, match text and tone. Make sure you choose fonts that fit the tone of your copy, such as the word summer should have a summery feel, just as the word soda pop should portray an airy, bubbly vibe. Number 4, go big with scripts and slabs. For some reason, these 2 just look great together. Use a script for the most important word and a slab or sans serif for the rest of your copy. And number 5, be courageous. Try pairing fonts with a lot of contrast, like a bold, curvaceous script with a thin, modern sans serif, or a statement-making display font with a whimsical italic serif. Alternately, you can pair font opposites, like a wide, rounded font with a hard-edged, angular sans serif. You can find some great font pairing suggestions on Google's Web Font Directory. As you're scrolling through the font directory, when you see a font that you like, first you'll hover over the font Then click the See Specimen option. Then just scroll down the screen a little ways until you see the font pairing options. As you click on each one, the font will change so you can see how it looks with a suggested font pair. In addition to playing with the weight, size, form, style, leading, and color of your fonts, try exploring other techniques such as overlapping text, using inline fonts, playing with lettercase, and adding flat shadows. As you work with fonts for your own web projects, consider the 5 Pro font pairing tips for thinking in contrasts, playing with scale, matching text with tone, going big with scripts and slabs, and being courageous. Try something new, like overlapping text, drop shadows, inline fonts, letting text touch, and varying the lettercase. Use your best judgment to choose the right fonts for the job, and above all, remember that in addition to readability, your fonts are there to help you convey meaning in a harmonious way.